what I was saying was that that's how I managed to realize who was really who. I mean, ultimately, I knew internally I wasn't doubting myself, but it was so convincing, and their technology is so incredible. And you have to think at the time. I'm trying to make sense of this all. Like, I'm trying to comprehend their technology and how they can download and all this, because I would keep waking up in experiences and experiments and things like that, but you're basically adding all those dots together to really figure things out, but it takes time. So I remember just being alarmed and being in a panic and freaked out, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, like, if I let her, she's gonna take over, and they're gonna kill me. Like, they're gonna erase me. So I had to figure it out quickly. When I figured out that she was so lucid about a lot of things that I wasn't lucid about, because there's no way with everything I've experienced that you are going to remember the dumb 3D stuff, like when you're in school at grade 4 or whatever. You're not going to give a damn about stuff like that, because you're actually, trying to stay alive, and you're trying to survive all these paranormal and supernatural things and all of these,
Hey, do you notice something?
What?
I'm a lot smaller than you now.
So
we're like kind of we're on
it's because
a hillside.
we're on a hill.
Yeah, I know, but I want to be on the tall side.
So hey, we'll
like...
switch in a second, honey.
All right.
I figured out their technology was very good when it comes to downloading consciousness and memories, because that clone didn't have the fog that I do about certain things, the struggle in the 3D reality. Like, she was just pawning off one thing after the other, and like, I'm sorry, but you know what? When you've lived the life that I have, the 3D reality is just it's a cover
for the real shit.
It's a cover for everything that's really going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, there you have it. And the second she did that, I was like, you're done. You're done. I said, you're done.
Well, I remember you giving me an account of when you actually were within an underground base, and you walked into a room.
Oh yeah.
Which was full of your clones in canisters, in like, they were like liquid tanks.
Yeah.
It's just to show what they can do and what they are doing with certain incarnates, because again, as we discussed last time, some people have come in with certain quantum abilities which they absolutely prize in value, and they seek to exploit that any way that they can within the bounds of their technology. Mm-hmm. And they have been successful in many ways with that. But again, our spirit trumps all of that.
All of it. Our spirit trumps all technology.
So we're not saying, we don't want to, anything we're saying here, we want to empower you, okay? Yes, there is a lot of serious, and you can say scary stuff going on. But ultimately what it comes down to is that your spirit can triumph over all these things, okay? To go and transcend beyond it all. Because it doesn't matter if their systems are collapsing around you, your spirit won't collapse, okay? If you are doing what you're meant to be doing.
Well, because their technology is trying to mimic your spirit. This is essentially what all of their technology is, all their quantum computers, all of their sophisticated interfacing technologies. This is only a means by which to try to mimic our spirit source power, which is eternal, unlimited.
Move over, sweetie.
Because our ability and our spirit and our authority and power, it trumps everything that they're trying to do with technology. And essentially all of their technology, which is, in the days of old, what they called magic. It's magic technology, I guess you could say. Necromancy, magic, inverted technology. It is a really desperate attempt to try and mimic the power that we came in with and that we have to this day, that they want us to forget, and they want us not to know that we have it, because that is the only way and the only possibility that they have to try and hijack everything from us And it has everything to do with stealing from us what we are and what we have, and trying to give us something in its place which is artificial to make you think that you need it when you are everything. So this is what we return to, the point of sovereignty and origin, source being authority, power, which is unlimited, and no technology can even hope to compare to that. No computer, no quantum computer, it can't do it. So this is the reason why they're so desperate for God codes. They're so desperate for quantum God codes. Soul codes, spirit codes.
Because these patrons, these pantheon gods whom are fallen, have been stripped of certain rights. So then they have to piggyback on us, because we've got the stuff that they don't. So again, this is where it comes into agreements and entrapment, where they count on us relinquishing our spiritual power onto their mechanism, onto their aims, onto their agendas. And unfortunately, they've been very successful in that. That doesn't mean they're not going to face repercussions, because they will, because they have gone outside their bounds. Okay, for example, the fact that we are under a maritime, or otherwise known as admiralty law, okay, they have been placing people under that law, or you call it, well, under that legalism, I'll call it, more than law, because it's not universal law. This is their termed law. So they've established that since times of the ancients. And just so you know, that should also give a clue of what we are in when we are birthed. Okay, because that's a giveaway too, that they call it that you are birthed here, BERTH. Okay, because you are a ship who has been anchored here. Okay, you are seen as a vessel.
I want to just state very plainly and clearly that I want these hidden masters to come forward, and I want the alchemists, the necromancy alchemists that have created a lot of the, quote, machinery of this synthetic reality. I want the architects to come forward.
And do what?
Because it's time.
I mean, they are going to come forward.
No.
But it's not going to look pretty.
It's time to stop this all. It's time for them to be seen, because nothing is going to work this time around. This is the end. This is the end game. So...
Well, look, the thing is...
The fact that they're hiding, and they continue to hide, and that they're ensuring any means possible by which they're going to try and find a way to survive, to try and...
All right, guys, we had a serious turn of events. We're recording this from Cell Block C. The Illuminati intercepted us. Not really. Okay. So yeah, we just have run out of lighting because we love to shoot outdoors, and we've got a new directional mic now, so... And
it's a full moon, so we have to do it tonight.
Watch out. Yeah, that's it.
Transmute.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the last time we did a shoot was on the solstice.
Yeah.
And we were getting slammed energetically. So yeah, if we sounded a little laboured in that, that's because
that was terrible.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it's alright, we managed to get through it, and we do want to bring more to the table, because...
Well, I have to bring more to the table, there's no option, so...
Well, there's always a choice, but, you know, if you feel a strong nudge...
Not according to, like, what I've come in here for, because I came in knowing all of this, and knowing that I had to do this, so...
No. There you have it, do what you got to do.
Yeah, for pre-birth. We'll get into that another time, but you were saying about the anagram.
The anagram, the word game. So, freaky as well, because the camera apparently just ran out of memory, again, at the utterance of the word Christ. So, I don't know what the odds of that are. It's just getting a little weird now. We are adherents, and we have knowledge and faith of the real Christ emissary, not their version. So yeah, we find we kind of get synchronicities a lot on our path. But yeah, as I was saying, so Jesus Christ, the anagram that I found was jurist chess, or chess jurist. Now, looking at the definition of the word jurist, it's not juror as you'd think in a courtroom. It is basically an expert of law, so an eminent lawyer or judge. And then you got the word chess. So make of that what you will. I was kind
Booyah!
of yeah. I don't really get surprised
Booyah!
easily.
There you have it.
Yeah.
There's their spelling. It's telling you everything right there.
Because you are basically adhering to the chess platform with that identity.
As a judge, with that identity as your judge, basing your entire existence and the veracity of that existence on that platform, which is ruled and relegated by
Their court.
their court, their technology, their synthetic simulation, their live synthetic simulation.
Which is all run through harvesting and blood sacrifice, which is why they love it. When all the young men, women
Gather
go to
together.
war and put all their labours onto war and bloodshed and murder and invading other people's sovereignty and creating all those conditions through manipulations
And duality
and through lies.
and chaos and division.
Exactly. And you do interrupt me. I've copped a lot of flack for interrupting you, but you interrupt me. She interrupts me a lot too, all right? In my defense. Okay. But, yeah, so this is the whole thing. I will say this in a balance and a fairness. If your religion makes you a better person, the virtues... I know, we've discussed that. But if your religion, if you inherently... If that part you hold to in religion, which is the white squares, I'll call them, so the virtues of the religions, okay, which are outlined, okay, which are the virtues adopted in good spirit, okay, if that aspect of the faith helps people to be in goodwill, because sometimes people need that, sometimes people...
Yeah, sometimes it saves lives.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I don't disagree. You know, everybody has to take whatever course they have to take to get there. So if that's what it takes, there have been a lot of people who've been, you know, severely in the threshold of drugs and you name it, and it took them that to learn how to love themselves, because, you know, a lot of these quote religions will teach aspects of that. So, you know, there's no judging at all. I'm not.
Yeah. We don't want to judge that.
But that's not where the truth is at the end. This is the thing. That's, you know, if people can just get over the setup and get over the experiences and get over the pretense of what that setup is, including your family members, including education, your career, you know,
you got to get married
the day-to-day
and have
life,
two kids and whatever.
That whole program of reality. If people can just get over that and see that this is how they take people's power away. Because when we start stepping into our power, then we realize, you know what? Why am I working 5 days a week? Why am I going to a job that doesn't serve my highest spiritual evolution so that I can just pay some bills and live the same hamster lifestyle ad infinitum, lifetime after lifetime, and nobody questions it, so they just keep doing it, you know?
Well, what I find, it's interesting because I find that so much is inverted where a lot of people boast about how busy they are. And it's almost become like something to take pride in. Like, I'm so busy. Like, oh, I'm doing this. I've got all this on my plate. But then it's like, well, if you were to question these people on elements of truth, a lot of them wouldn't have a clue.
No.
Because they're just so busy.
Well, and then they die. And you know what? And then they get recycled to the next thing. Although now it's not going to happen. There's no more recycling. You know, I've seen this. We've all seen this. We've all been forced to live the setup in one way or another until finally, some of us are stepping into our sovereignty and power and authority and changing our universe, because it is our universe, and this is ultimately where it's at.
Yep.
This is where the keys are at. So lose the narrative, lose the stories. We've all had horrible things happen to us. I've had horrifying things happen, and really it's way beyond a miracle that I'm here. But who cares? I don't really care, because it doesn't exist. None of that exists. I got to where I needed to be in order to have the keys, and it's my universe. So it doesn't matter what they tried to set me up into. I never bought the carrot. So all that means nothing. We all come from a family within the infinite verse, which is a benevolent evolutionary family, and that's our source. So all this is just contrived, artificial, and I'm telling you, artificial because they screwed you up with hybridizing your lineage so that they could insert you in specific families by the law. And by doing so, they could set you up with specific traumas that would keep you re-looped in that same thing over and over and over again, in that same fracture.
Through that
none of it is real. People have to be willing to walk away from that all. You can discuss the setup of
well, look, a lot of times
enmeshment.
Yes, but this is the thing. A lot of times
it's ongoing.
The parents are conditioned and programmed and set up to snare the kids and instill the programs which are meant to be played on them as well. So again, this is where forgiveness plays a big role. Okay, you're meant to gather what you gather, wake up to what you're meant to wake up to, without bitterness, without resentment,
just neutral,
without hate.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where we keep going back to live and let live.
Yeah.
As long as if you've survived it and you've become stronger for it and more resilient and woken up more to setups, because this is a big part of what the breaking out and was it called emancipation?
It's emancipation,
emancipating
liberation.
yourself from all these ensnarements through a variety of ways. Family is just one example. There's many ways.
But it's all false.
Yeah, try and get the hooks in.
Yeah, it's all false. And we all can look at our past lives, and we can look at our current family dynamics, and we can just see it clear as day.
Yeah. And speaking of past lives, I don't believe in the concept of innocent children, okay, about pure little babies, because that consciousness which has been inserted more than likely has had previous incarnations where they could have been real little bastards, all right?
Well, just look at my experience, okay? This is living proof. The living proof that I came in with consciousness, I came in with memory, and I came in literally not being swiped like everyone. And I came in with, knowing what I had to do. So, when I entered the body of, this body, I have full memory, 100% memory of what that was like completely. The second I entered inside it, my consciousness was completely there. There was no, I'm a baby. No, I was like, oh my God, I'm trapped in this globulous thing. And I'm not able to talk. I'm not able to move. I'm not able to control this reality. It's so dense. It's so heavy. It's it's squishing me to death. This is heavy. And I'm trapped. So that was me as a baby. I was never a baby. I was never a baby. I was never a young kid. I was never a teenager. I was always what I am now. Only I had to go through these stages of this setup here in this hijacked, reality to get to this is what everyone goes through. So no one is an actual baby. No one is actually innocent. It's a total concept that they hijacked to use against us also, to pull your compassion strings.
So was it really annoying when people would come up to you and go, 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 go?
Everything was annoying. You kidding me? I'm
You just
like,
wanted to, like,
I can't
give 'em a
even
baby
believe
slap, or?
No, I can't believe I survived it. That was horrifying. So, our concept and what everyone has been brainwashed to believe, I'm telling you, it's all brainwashing. Right down to looking at something and placing your projection of that brainwashing onto that, because that's really what you want to believe. It's not true. We come in with consciousness. You just all forgot.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess that's the difference, is that some people have been mind swiped and put through that amnesic barrier more than others. And
they wouldn't be able to get away with this if everybody snapped in. And, you know, as soon as they were birthed, they were conscious. They wouldn't be able to get away with it. Everybody would be like, are you kidding me?
yeah, would you be so willing to partake in this stupid slave system? And,
No,
yeah.
no, not at all. And in fact, they generate wars. They generate all of these disasters and catastrophes and plagues and droughts. They generate all of it to influence populations so that they feel jeopardized, and they feel hungry, and they feel scared, and they feel the setup that they do, and then they react according to that. And that's what they bank on. They bank that everyone is going to do that. And when they swipe your minds, when you come in here, they just give you they just slam you with a whatever. And sometimes people get slammed with a great life, by the way. It's not all bad. Sometimes people come in and they get a setup where everything's amazing and they don't have to struggle for anything, and they get everything given to them, but it makes them asleep.
Seduction, distraction,
Yeah.
temptation.
So,
And yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
No one here is exempt from
No.
the trial and the test of this life.
they can only take what you are willing to give them. So, some of the things that I don't agree with is the 5-day-a-week, 8-hour-a-day work week. Bullshit, okay? Bullshit. It's to rob you of your soul power, of your spirit source, of your living vitality, and your ability to penetrate beyond this. So I do not agree with that, and that needs to go. How animals are being farmed and harvested, I don't agree with that at all. I think it's horrifying, and that needs to stop worldwide, completely. The government thinking that they have a right to not share truthful information with us about what they know, bullshit. They don't have a right, and I'm claiming it right now. They don't have a right to do that. And we are sovereign, so we have a right, and we are claiming that. And I don't agree with what they're doing, so they have to come out with everything.
Yep.
Period.
We don't agree to your slavership. We don't
No.
agree to your
Legal system.
to your legal system,
No.
which is born under treason.
Yes.
We do not agree to any bondage or pledges that you have placed people under in subjugation. We do not agree, and we withdraw
And through lies.
any ownerships or subjugation.
And through omission. We don't agree to any of that.
We are not your subjects.
No. We don't agree to you
We are not
architects.
your vessels.
No.
We are not your chattel.
No. No. This is our universe. And we don't agree to you architects and you hidden masters and hidden hands and hidden this and hidden that and all of your demiurgic forces and the gods. And I speak to the gods because I know the gods. I speak to you. We don't agree. So we're calling you out. We're calling all of you out. And we're telling you we stand in our sovereignty, authority, and power because this is our universe and not yours. And we claim that. And we don't agree with nuclear radiation, by the way, also, okay? Because that's huge. That's a breach. And we don't agree to what has been done to us genetically on a DNA level, on a conscious level, and the breaches that are happening with technology, with what they're doing to us to try and transform us into it. So we don't agree to any of that.
And guys, it's very important and vital, if you will it, that you individually apply such examples of what we're stating here. That's just a short... We're just doing that so you can get a feel of the language of what you're meant to adopt and apply in your creative word and power and authority, which you have been granted. So it is up to you whether you grasp these keys, okay? Because that is a big part of your emancipation, liberation from all of these spells of suppression and all of these manipulations, which they are continuing, and unfortunately, as we've been shown it, they are only going to be upping the ante in their manipulations, and they're going to be setting up deeper, more agreements of entrapment, which carry more serious ramifications.
Right.
Okay, we've discussed the mark of the beast, therefore, the nanochips, all that, but that's at the last, the real latter stages. So we're talking about there's going to be more agreements that they're going to be trying to set up.
So we don't agree. So we don't agree to psychic warfare. We don't agree to them taking any of our consciousness and inserting it into any form of technology. We don't agree to them taking our codes and doing whatever they want with that and creating quantum computers with it. We don't agree with any
form of handling.
No.
On either covert or overt levels.
And all setups, all 3D setups. None.
Yeah, so we're going to be applying more of these. We're going to be speaking out a bit more on that, because we really, okay, we've told you a lot of the sort of heavier elements, okay, and we know that can feel overwhelming, especially if you're sort of more new to this. We could go into more detail with some of those elements. However, on some levels we've been held back, and in all of this of what we're producing here, we're trying to bring forth the information in a responsible way, in a way that we've been nudged to do it. We haven't wanted to force things. We could have come out with a lot of this information years ago. However, we weren't as heavily nudged back then as we are now.
No, and I was prevented, so I couldn't do it. So.
Yeah, and so.
Because it wasn't time.
Truth in the wrong hands, truth in the hands of people who are not ready and who are not at the level of conscious awareness
and conscious responsibility,
is a dangerous thing. And this is why I will even say that we only want people brought to our information and our message whom are ready for it. Those whom are going to misapply it and use it principles to harm, because unfortunately we do live in a world where if people were to come into awareness of certain pending events, it wouldn't be a good thing, and it is potentially dangerous. So all of this has been on a form of a marker and timing,
and we advocate high evolution. So ultimately what we're advocating for is liberation, emancipation from this all, and complete and utter authority in your standing of sovereignty of your original source being that takes responsibility and authority in everything in your life. And there are no crutches, there are no excuses, no projections, no mirroring. None of those things. So this is full on, because we have to be responsible. Once you step into your sovereign being and your power and authority, you cannot play those games. And you cannot play the games of this archetype reality simulation. You can't do what the architects have created.
You have to make yourself accountable for your choices and be responsible in that as an adult, okay? Because the time for the tantrums and throwing the toys in the pram, okay, and ranting and blaming everyone else for what you have created,
gone.
In many ways.
So we have to take our responsibility within the reality we create, because we are the universe. And nobody else is our universe. We are our own universe. And ultimately, we need to step into that on all levels, all dimensions, across all time. Nobody else can do it. And thus far, the hijacking has been successful because we have allowed others, and we have allowed them to take our power and our sovereignty and authority away in place for a pretense of comfort.
And convenience.
And it's false. A pretense in what is a false setup, including everything that you think you know and everything that you think you have lived. That has just been the setup. So step into who and what you really are in your original source being creation, and know that this is to get you to what you truly are. Once again, return to that, not any of this.
Yeah. Because as we've stated, their game, they plan to ramp it up, and they do have advanced technologies. They do intend to use them. They have their stage to set up. Okay, it is written in the book of Revelation, which is
their Armageddon,
their playbook.
Yeah.
Okay, and their playbook is to set up their kingdom artificially prior to the real thing, the real
coming. And we'll get into that later.
The real true revelation,
Yeah.
which is going to come.
Yeah, and we will get into that as well. The thing is that what they want to do is they want to continue procreating their necromancy infinity systems that are based on this hijacking of everyone's source being creation. And they want to try and evade what's coming for themselves. And if they do that through our power and sovereignty and all that we are in source, they think that they have a chance.
And on that note, that's actually a big part of what these time projects are trying to achieve, in them manipulating these quantum platforms so they can try and evade their fate.
Yeah.
And they're trying to piggyback off people who have the true spirit ability, God ability, to piggyback off that power source.
That requires that everyone step into their sovereignty and their authority and their power, and that they actually discern the difference between the setup of their life and what they really are. If everyone eradicates the pretense of the lineage that they've been born into and the archetypes that have been imprinted in their being from the time of inception into this artificial artifice, if everyone just releases themselves from this all and they return to their source original being, and they realize that they've allowed themselves to go through this experiment for the purpose of actually marrying themselves back to their godhood. This has been allotted. We have actually agreed to do this. And it's a point of return to what we are. But unless we step into that consciously, then the machine will take over. We've agreed to go through this in order to return to our original source being and take up our original sovereignty and authority and power on all levels. We agreed in part to even be in this experiment. The trapping happened when we agreed to the trap. People agreed to the trap. I'm sorry. You know, y'all agreed to the trap. It was offered as a way to make life easier when a catastrophe occurred and all humanity wanted it. So the trap is something that everybody stepped into on one level or another. And if you go and you just separate it all ultimately at the very end of it, which is where we're coming from the future of us in this all. This is all the more reason why we have to step into what we know to be real and true in our sovereign being, because we bit the carrot. Well, I'm not going to say me. People bit the carrot. And this is why this happened. It happened, and it was allowed to get as bad as it has gotten because people allowed it. You know, when somebody chooses to be asleep because they don't want to be conscious, guess what? What do you think they're agreeing to? They're agreeing to allowing that to happen.
And that's why it's also part of the setup is to have you suicidal when you've been under a lot of trauma, because then if you keep putting that intent and invoking, I don't want to be here, I don't want to live, I don't want to be here, well, then there's other entities which are taking that as an invitation. So it's like, okay, well, you don't want your vehicle, I'll step in it for you.
Yep.
And a lot of times this is where people do set themselves up for possession.
So all of this is to teach people to try and remember, to collect all of your members back, you know, all of them from all parallel realities, from your consciousness creating underworlds, okay, and hells, which people create all the time.
As co-creators.
You know, you all need to collect everything, step away from the setup, go to the neutral zone, the point zero, where you're not checkmated in any polarity, and you need to just harness your sovereign authority and power and return to all of your unlimited, eternal, supernatural being, which is just supernatural, not supernatural. You're just supernatural. That is what you are.
And outside the containment, the synthetic containment system
of
this vessel, you know, which is why we're under maritime law, because as you said before, this is a ship, this is an Earth ship floating in the sea of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are in a containment system. So it's up to you, whether you want your liberation or not, or whether you just want to submit
and
to
continue living your quote stories. If you want to continue proliferating in the sea of, you know, illusions and pain and all of what the setup is, then you're not going to get out. We can experience incredible setups, but ultimately they're not us. Those setups are not us. I don't claim and own anything that I've experienced and lived through, because it's not me. That's not me. I'm not the sum of that. What I am is the sum of all that I am, and I am sovereign, and it is my universe. It's my universe.
So you can either continue to play within the matrix and their bounds of law and rule,
death law,
and anti-life principles, inversion principles.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, they're going to be trying to set up more contracts. We'll be going into that a bit more, because they are preparing for war now. So there are a lot of scenarios and stages which are coming, which they are going to try and draft people into very dangerous soul path contracts.
And they're also going to try and use the element of surprise for everyone. They're planning a series of events in the not too distant future, and they are banking on the element of surprise in order to hook people back into agreements of entrapment, so that they can further their illusory living server reality.
We have been prompted to speak at this time because things are heating up more now. The people who have adopted a lot of these new age philosophies, providing false hopes, feeding people dreams, and denying the events which are in the works and are already,
Yeah.
in form.
They were always informed.
If you are afraid, then you have not been spiritually preparing yourself in the truth. Because if you are seeking truth and if you are loving truth, you would get yourself to a frequency level where you wouldn't be so attached to the flesh and to this world construct that you would be living in fear. Because this is not what this is about. Okay?
I mean, fear is healthy to a point, and it's to get you to that area where you literally take your sovereign authority and power.
And take action.
Action. And when you do that, you realize that you're creating a new time and space around you, and you are actually altering all things. So this is the power we have. We have that power to create new paradigms.
And that's the thing. I mean, the word fear porn, I have a really hard time with that term because it's been used to demonize anyone who's actually raising the alarm and waving the warning flag and, hey, pay attention, folks, okay, because shit's about to get hot, okay, and real. And people like using that term fear porn, it's a way, it's like that term conspiracy theorist. It tries to shut people up. Okay.
And the reality is that there's always been people along the way that have come in with real information, and according to everything that I saw, everything's happening exactly to that. And because
you've shown me, and you've been the living evidence of that.
Yeah. Our purpose is to empower everyone to remember who and what you are.
And to step in your power.
And to step into that truth, which is eternal, immortal. It is unlimited, and nothing, no technology, no quantum computer, no quantum living server could ever hold a flame to what we are.
To supersede that.
So this is what we impart to you, and this is where we hope that you will start touching your true power and sovereignty.
And that sovereignty is yours to embrace or yours to surrender. It really is up to you.